Augustus De Morgan, presented by Sarah Cover on November 15th, 2024, with a picture of Augustus De Morgan. Augustus De Morgan introduced the mathematical world to the discussion of sets, and he pioneered the mathematical field of sets theory. This domain of mathematics affects many parts of our modern lives, especially business today. The beginning of Augustus De Morgan's life. De Morgan was born on June 28, 1806, in Madurai, India. When he was 7 months old, he, along with his family, returned home to England. De Morgan suffered from an eye defect, where his eyes handicapped him from his vision. This disability created a challenge for him because he could not play sports like other boys his age and even got teased about it at times. De Morgan took education very seriously. At the age of 16, he entered Trinity College, Cambridge. As soon as he entered college, Peacock and Whewell began to tutor him. They soon became some of his lifetime friends, and these friendships inspired him to start teaching algebra. He was a very modest type of person who did not want to boast about his academic achievements. Later, that interest turned into the renovation of logic. He was not someone to flash around his degrees. All in all, Augustus De Morgan was brilliant for the era that he lived in. Augustus De Morgan was a brilliant and witty writer, whether as a controversialist or as a correspondent, according to Arthur Macfarlane, who wrote Lectures on 10 British Mathematics of the 19th Century. Sorry about that, guys. Victorian era. The period that De Morgan lived in was called the Victorian era. The Victorian era was when people gravitated from farming as a way of life towards living in urban centers. This era included the time frame when children were often asked by their families to work in factories due to their lack of livable income. The Victorian era, which spanned from 1837 to 1901, was during Queen Victoria's reign and was marked by significant industrial, cultural, and social things in Britain. Telegraphs and mechanized farm equipment were invented during this era. This era related to De Morgan as he had the opportunity to go to college at the University of Oxford, along Cambridge. Reading between the lines of history, we know even this meant that his family was very wealthy enough to be able to pay for his higher education. When there was no career open for him because of all the innovations, he decided to take the bar. Afterward, he took up residency in London, but soon he realized that he did not prefer reading law. He would rather be teaching mathematics. As soon as he was teaching, it was very common for his lectures to be an hour, and at the end of the lecture he would always give out several problems and examples illustrating the subjects that he had just been lecturing on. His students were required to do the homework before the next lecture had appeared. He would also peer over the homework to make sure that it was correct before they got it back. What De Morgan is so widely known for is the law that he came up with. De Morgan's law is a law that describes mathematically how the intersections and unions of sets are related to their powers. I noticed that his theory is directly connected to the set theories that we studied in the first month of this semester. De Morgan's law explains the difference between intersection and the union of sets. Another way of saying this is that his law is used to relate the difference between conjunction and disjunction. We used De Morgan's law when we worked on Venn diagrams in our class studies in the very first week of class. This is when you are comparing all the amounts of elements collected that you have and seeing if there is the same of any in more than one category of the Venn diagram. If there is not the same, then the intersection of the sets would be an empty set. An example of this would be set G, which states that 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, and the two sets would be set H, which states that 2, 4, 6, and 8, and so on. Then the part of the Venn diagram would share is 2, 4, 6, and 8. That means that a union of two sets would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, or all the elements of both sets. G, and H. Another example of set theory pioneered by Augustus De Morgan in this union G, H. De Morgan shared with other mathematicians about sets, proving several set theories. In his opinion, a thorough understanding about the assemblies of according to the J.J. Connor and E.F. Robertson article, they stated that De Morgan praised Locke's essays concerning human understandings and claimed, "It is notorious that the first ideas which any human being receives are derived either from the figure or number of the objects which surround him. From the appearance of this material world, certain distinct notions are gathered which, though their prototypes have no real existence in the nature, and the clearest and most definite in our minds contain." As it stated in the article, dedicating yourself to study your favorite field of thought may be all scholars along people in the future as technology, along with science, is changed every single day in the way that discoveries are made and knowledge is increasing. As we continue to explore daily new laws, it makes us thankful for what time and effort De Morgan put into this set theory. As the discoveries come about today, we are still basing them on one of the cornerstone laws from De Morgan. It hopefully makes mathematicians want to dive deeper into discovering for the better of us and future generations to come. De Morgan is still very well known for what he established in set theory. What discoveries are you going to be making today?